So they're having shit fits over the installation of solar farms in the Adirondack Park. They're cutting down large numbers of trees and bulldozing grasslands, and they're going into the forever wild areas. And of course, they're putting in the solar farms for the billionaires, for Kathy Hochul, because forever wild. Well, they push that out of the way when they want to install their solar farms in their wind parks. ORES and the Department of Public Service, and it's not just Hochul, it's the whole state. Now, I want to make a point about wiping out farmland for electricity. In northern Queensbury and Warren County, Niagara Mohawk Systems Properties, international paper, and I got witnesses like the steamship company, Luke Dow, over in Lake George Village. I got witnesses out the butt. I've got data and records and witnesses out the ass. They raised the lake level about 8 feet. The historical records are conclusive. Wiping out all the farmland north of Harrisina by flooding it so that they could operate their little penstock and their hydroelectric generators there at Ticonderoga. And the mills and the sewage flushing. There's one, you see, Ticonderoga didn't have sewer treatment at all until the mid-70s. So they were dumping all of their sewage into the Lachute River. That's historical fact, and they'd flush it, Dave Wick. The Lake George Park Commission, Environmental Conservation, they flushed all the sewage from Ticonderoga. They flushed huge amounts of mill wastes right in front of Fort Ticonderoga. And the environmental destruction is plainly seen by the naked eye. The aerial photographs, the scientific investigations, plain and simple. They use the Lachute, the Poop Chute River, as a giant toilet flusher. That's all there is to it. They can't undo the facts. And here's one that, my father went to a foreclosure sale for many reasons. And, he was arrested, preventing him from bidding on his own property. Isn't that fascinating? He winds up in a jail cell as he's trying to recover his property from a very aggressive and abusive foreclosure. Very abusive foreclosure. They wanted my old man gone. They wanted my family off our property. So they threw my old man in a jail cell. He was never found guilty of a damn thing. He was never found guilty of anything. There was never an adjudication for what they put him in the jail cell for. Isn't that fascinating? And the Warren County Board of Supervisors and the whole Warren County District Attorney, County Attorney, all the judges, even the sheriff can't produce a single shred, not a scintilla of any evidence whatsoever that my father was guilty of a damn thing, except trying to bid at a foreclosure sale. So, ladies and gentlemen, this Miss Fasula, I guess that's her last name, Miss Fasula, the Save the Farmland lady, and her exposing Kathy Hochul for the greed that's going on in the Adirondack Park. Greed that's going on in the Adirondack Park. Why is it that northern Queensbury is flooded? Why is it that Lake George lake level was raised 7 or 8 feet, even more? Why do all the records prove it? What's the big secret, Kathy Hochul? And to Felicia James, the Attorney General of the state of New York, Was my father ever found guilty of anything at all? That's going to the Attorney General and the New York State Police and to the Special Internal Investigations Department there at Department of Environmental Conservation in Raybrook. What was my father found guilty of? Is there a record of a conviction for anything? Yeah. Uh-huh. So yes, Miss Fasula, I guess that's how you say your name. The forever wild clause doesn't mean shit when it comes to the big bucks. They just push it aside and install their wind parks and they install their solar farms. In Forever Wild in the Adirondack Park, the pink line scam, it's all it's been from its inception, is a land grab, great big old land grab by the Empire State. And folks, you know, I know you enjoy your wildlife and your parks and your birds and everything. I get it. Trust me, I get it. I know exactly what you're talking about. And I've got a lot of the same sentiments. But when you bulldozed my father and mother, you murdered them. You murdered my parents. You stole everything they ever built, everything they ever worked for. You stole it when you threw my father on bullshit, bogus charges into the Warren County Jail. Never convicted of anything. Was there even a trial? Did you bother to even have a trial, set a trial date? Nope. And you don't have any records. There's your sign, ladies and gentlemen. They don't have any records. And to my oldest sister, Georgia Witham Bain, and Heather and Rick Carbone, you know, my sisters, I got a message for you. Where's the conviction? Where's the conviction on the arrest of Dad when he went to the foreclosure sale to buy the marina out of foreclosure? Where exactly is the conviction for that incarceration? And I'll wait for my oldest sister, Georgia, to produce it. And Tracy Witham McDonald and Tracy husband, Sean McDonald, where in the flying hell is the conviction on my father?